Hey guys, how's it going? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting. Today we are at Salvo Guns once again. I've been getting a lot of requests for kind of an AR overview video. This video is meant for people just looking to get into their first AR, or maybe even someone who wants to go out and shoot an AR, just doesn't know where to start. And I've been there before, so I'm happy to help out. So before we start, I just wanted to dispel a common myth. So AR does not stand for assault rifle. AR stands for Armalite. Armalite was the first brand to make a gun like this, so that's AR. When you hear AR-15, people aren't talking about assault rifles, they're talking about Armalite rifles. Assault is what you choose to do with them. So, moving forward, a little bit about the gun itself. So, we have the barrel, the hand guard, kind of the upper receiver here, the lower receiver, the magazine, the grip, and the stock. The stock is adjustable on most models, so they've all got different kinds of stocks. On just kind of your basic one right here, you've got a little notch here, push that in, and you can come out to 3 different spots. Your grip, your trigger, this is your safety right here, so I'm going to flip around. So your safety, right now I'm on fire. If I flip this way, I'm on safe. To check that this chamber is clear, what we're going to do first, obviously, is drop this magazine. The magazine drop is this little button right here next to the trigger guard. So push that in, the magazine will come right out. You can see I'm empty right here. Just so you know, these magazines generally hold 30 rounds. And then to check, right here is my chamber. There's a dust cover on covering it right now. To check that, this is called your charging handle. So I'm going to pull that straight back. Okay, and I can see in there's no bullet, there's nothing in the magazine well, so I'm good to go. If I want to hold this back, if I want to hold this bolt back right here so that I can show everyone that it's clear, I've got this little button on the other side right here. So this button, there's a top and a bottom. I'm going to push that bottom in once I get this charging handle to the back. So pull all the way back, push down right here, and then let go. That way, my bolt is just suspended in a rear position, so that everyone knows this is a clear rifle. So, all right, so a little bit about how this gun works. This one is a gas impingement system. What that means is I've got a gas tube running from up here, coming back and pushing on this bolt. So every time I pull that trigger and a bullet goes, it's gonna use some of that gas to travel up here and push this bolt back, loading a new bullet into the chamber, pushing that bolt forward, and then I'm ready to fire again. So it's semi-automatic. The issue with gas impingement is sometimes it can be a little dirty on the gun. You get a lot of carbon buildup right in that chamber because that's where all that gas is coming back to. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something you have to keep up on maintenance wise. They're really easy to take down and clean, but every time you shoot one, after you get done shooting it that day, you should clean it just to keep it functioning well every single time. There are other systems. So for instance, you can do like a gas piston system. So it'll have a little piston in here. The gas will push against that piston, push against that bolt, load a new bullet into it, and then that bolt will move forward. The nice thing about that is you don't get all that carbon buildup because your gas isn't traveling all the way back to your chamber. Still does need cleaning, but not as often. And then the other nice thing about it is it runs a little bit cooler. So when you're running all this gas through the gas impingement system, everything starts to heat up. When you're running the piston, it's just not using all that gas. It's a little bit smoother running system. People say the gas is more accurate than the piston system. I personally don't have enough experience in that area to tell you. Maybe someone will comment on it and let us know about that. So, all right, so I'm going to show you how to break this down and clean it. It's really easy. I'm just going to show you a really basic overview on how to do it. So if you get one, you can know where to start. We'll do another video in the future going into more detail. So for right now, I've got this locked back. I know I'm empty, my magazine's out. So that's the number 1 step, always make sure your gun is unloaded. Once it's unloaded, I need to let this bolt down. So I'm just gonna pull back on here, pull back and let forward, just kind of like a handgun. So now that my bolt's forward, I can depress that, let the hammer down. And then on the other side here, I've got this little pin. So I've got my safety right here, safe, fire, and then this pin. So I'm gonna push that pin through. Just push it straight in, and then on the other side, it's got this little notch right here. I'm gonna pull that straight out. So it comes straight out, and the upper and lower assembly split apart. I've got another pin right here, which I can take out if I wanna completely take the 2 pieces apart, but I don't need to do that for this situation. So the biggest thing I want to clean is this bolt. So I'm going to grab right here on the charging handle, pull out, and then the bolt will just come out just like this. Charging handle comes out. And this bolt will actually come down in a few different pieces, so you do want to take that apart. In the future video, like I said, I'll teach you how to do that and we'll clean this gun up real good. In here in this chamber, you'll see it's kind of got like a little star pattern. I know it's hard to see on the video, but if you ever do this on your own, you'll see it's almost like a star pattern, and it's right where the front of this fits in. That's where you want to keep really clean, because when you get carbon buildup in there, if this star can't fit smoothly into that star, that's when you get jams. So clean up in there real good. Once you've got all that done, to put this back together, we're going to take the charging handle first. And if you can see, there's little notches on the side of that charging handle. There's little notches where it's going to fit into the top of this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to push upward as I'm putting this in, and about an inch or so in, I'll hear it go up. You see that? So it starts down here, be pushing up, 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 and then I hit that little chamber. So I'll push a little further past that just so it can hang there. And then on the bottom, there's a groove that kind of goes up. And I've got this little piece right here I want to put up in that groove. And then the whole thing will just slide back in there. Perfect. Shut this back down. All right, so sometimes when this won't shut, I have no idea what this piece is called, but there's a little silver piece on that bolt that's sticking out. Just reach your finger in there, push that in, and then it should just shut. This pin just pushes right back through where it came from, and then you want to do a quick safety functions test. In order to do that, you're going to take your charging handle right here, make sure the bolt works, check, make sure that your safety switch will go to safe and fire. Once it's on fire, again, make sure that we're unloaded, and then pull that trigger, make sure it fires. And then once you've pulled that trigger, you want to make sure this won't go back onto safe without being cocked. So that's your safety functions check. Everything does check out. So now finally, how do you shoot this gun? You know, what's the best way to hold it? What's the best way to shoot it? That kind of thing. So I'm going to put this empty magazine back in here. All right, so there's a few different ways to do this. First off, you want to get this stock in a nice snug position against your shoulder. If you take your arm and go straight up with it, you'll feel a little notch about right here between your shoulder and your collarbone. That is where I put this stock. So I give it real snug up in there. With your right hand, as always, make sure your finger's off the trigger. With your left hand, there's a few different ways. So we can go just, you know, straight underneath the hand guard right there. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. If you want to come up against the mag well right here, that's how most people I've seen will hold it. They'll get in real nice and tight right here, so you're pulling the gun into your shoulder. You know, the tighter it is against you, the less recoil you're going to get. So that's a good way to start out. You can get your head way down there to get through the sights. It's not going to hurt you. And then finally, you'll get a lot of people coming all the way out with their arm. A little bit more advanced technique. It lets you cycle between multiple targets a little bit easier. So check it out, see what works best for you. My first recommendation is if it's your first time shooting an AR, just get a good tuck against your shoulder and buckle up, because it's going to be a lot of fun. The bullet you're shooting out of this, it's either a 223 Remington or a 5.56. The bullet it doesn't have a lot of recoil. It's a smaller bullet, but it's traveling at like between 3,000 and 4,500 feet per second, depending on what one you're shooting. So it's got a ton of velocity, but it is a smaller bullet. So luckily you won't be getting too much recoil. If it's your first time shooting, you'll be fine. Just like I said, get it up in your shoulder and just get a good solid grip on it, and you know, you'll be great. So I hope that helps you out with some AR tips. Again, this is an AR-15. There are things like an AR-10, which is a 308 caliber, an AR-50, which is a 50 caliber, all sorts of different ones. And AR is kind of it's the model, right? So you've got tons of other people who make it. Think of it like a two-door coupe, right? So Honda makes a two-door coupe, Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, I mean, all these different companies make two-door coupes. That's kind of like an AR. So you've got Colt ARs, you've got SIG, you've got Rock River, you've got Bravo Company, you've got Daniel Defense. All sorts of companies make ARs. ARs are just this platform. That's all we're talking about. So I hope that helps you a little bit. If you have any questions, definitely shoot me an email, leave it in the comments below. And like I said, I don't have a huge amount of experience with ARs, but I have enough to where I can help out. So let me know what I can do for you, and thanks for watching Green Light Shooting. See you next week.